Friend, old friend, it's 4 a.m. What are we doing in the street? I don't want to buy fried chicken. I wish that I was gonna sleep. And I don't want to kiss you underneath that flashing sign. What's the hurry? We're not ready. We've got plenty of time. Maybe we'll get married. Maybe fall in love. Could you make me fall asleep when you're holding me? Try setting me on fire. Try setting me on fire. Try setting me on. There's someone else, but I twist all of his words and he twists mine. So I'll have to let him go. We sometimes fit, but we always lie. He thinks we could make it work, but only when he's drunk. And you think you could help me swim, but I've already sunk. So maybe you'll get married, maybe fall in love. Could you gonna fall asleep when you're not holding me? Go get set on fire. Go get set on fire. Go get set on. Friend, I am a slow, slow mover. Friend, I am a slow, slow girl. Trying to be kind, kind, kinder. Crawling in another world. But maybe one day we'll get married. Maybe fall in love. Could you make me fall asleep when you're holding me? Or try setting me on fire. 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 Try setting me on.
Hello, friends and Postafarians. It's me, Skitzefrenyic. Mitch. I am here in Safe Word Studios. It is episode 2 of Define Your Terms with Skitzefrenyic. Finally! A place to have the conversation. We're doing this again. Today, I live in the Colorado area. And today, it is very snowy where I live. And that means two things. One, fucking snowballs. And two, Joe couldn't go to work today, eh? Look at this, I got a special guest.
Hi.
It's Josephine LaRoe. She's here with us for episode 2. How fortuitous.
Yeah.
You know, I blame Flying Spaghetti Monster. I keep telling him not to meddle in our business. And then he does things like dump a foot of snow out there. So, you know, what are you going to do? Fucking just remind him. Weekly reminder.
Luck out on days that are weathery.
So, I guess
Get a
now
guest.
you have to have a conversation with me. That's the problem. Is you're our first guest here on Define Your Terms.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
About the pink unicorn.
Oh, well, I don't know if you're allowed to do it like that. I don't know if you're allowed to tell me what the conversation's about. I don't know how to have a conversation.
Well, I think it starts out with either someone stating something and someone agreeing or disagreeing, or someone asking a question.
Okay.
So I'll ask you a question.
Oh, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
But I
'Cause I'm
thought
the
I had
guest.
to have a conversation with you.
No, it's with you.
What?
Define your terms with Skitzefrenyic, Mitch.
with Schizophrenic Mitch.
Yeah.
Define your terms.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to define my terms. What are terms
You sound very defensive.
for conversation?
Yeah. I think you're very nervous about having this conversation. Maybe we should learn how to put guests at ease. Maybe that would be a thing to help with the conversation. How to make people not feel so defensive in the conversation. Terms are like in like algebra when you've got like x's and y's. Those are the terms. So we've got to get like an algebra guy in here to tell us that. Did you take algebra in high school?
No.
Yeah, nor did I. I skipped it accidentally. You know, high school for geniuses. Weird stuff went on. You know, Dr. Xavier in his wheelchair. Like, don't worry about algebra. You won't be needing that to foil Magneto's plans. That's
Now you're like...
fucking, what are terms? I need to have this conversation. I was created to be a fighting machine and nothing more. Who am I if not a tool to kill? Right, it's very difficult coming out of this lifestyle. Holy fucking snowbong Batman, you know? Fuck.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
It's very crisp. And painless.
Whew, that is a slow mover right there. So anyway, we're dealing with a lot of snow. And, and so our throughput might be very, very low. So,
Also,
you know,
the neighborhood kids are home.
that's right, because of it's a holiday. And so
Yeah.
everyone's using their bandwidth, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think, so today's episode is called, episode 2, Welcome to the Conversation. Yesterday's episode was called Design Your Terms, and we did a thumbnail. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was fun.
You thought the thumbnail was fun?
Yeah.
You're proud and happy to use that thumbnail for today's episode
For
that
yesterday's
features you?
episode that says 1, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want it fucking associated with you in any way whatsoever?
I do.
You're fine with that?
Yeah.
So I tried to go in there and fucking edit it and put a 2 on there.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't find it. Like, I found it yesterday, and it was like, look at all these things that you've done before. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Uh-huh.
You remember all my shit, so that's cool. So, I went in there today to change the 1 and 2 to 2, so that we had a thumbnail for this. Can't find it at all. I went to, like, Pixlr and Pixlr Editor, and they're like, we've never fucking heard of you, bitch. I was like, what in the hell happened
Wow.
in the last 24 hours? Because, like, it was months before that anyone had used Pixlr on this computer. And it had no problem remaining through that. And then, for some reason, these last 24 hours, like, what?
Yeah.
The brand new person.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But I suppose, you know, that's part of the brand, is, branding your brand. I don't know. They make me do all that stuff because they're like, trust me, it's a meritocracy. The harder you work, the more you'll get. And it's like, oh, Jesus. Maybe that should be the conversation. Is it really a meritocracy? Who would we have that conversation with? Let's talk it, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, would you, can someone get on the horn with Bill Gates and tell him that we would like to have the conversation now? It's time to have the conversation. We're ready. We would like to have the conversation. Is this really a meritocracy, Bill? Let's look at a graph of the work that you were doing in your life, and then let's do a graph of the reward that you were getting, and let's see how well they sync. So yeah.
We can schedule that anytime.
Anytime, yeah, any weekdays. Except for this Thursday, Bill. I'm going to be pretty busy this Thursday for a little national holiday. Oh, so Will Smith done a bit on the SNL about the national holiday that we got coming up called Thanksgiving. And so I have personally, you know, in order to have the conversation, you have to know who I am. I personally have a problem with calling it Thanksgiving, because who are you thinking, right? You can call it a lot of things. You can call it "Isn't This a Wonderful Place?" Day. Thanksgiving though is just a fucking religious shorthand for some fucking bullshit that doesn't have to be a national holiday. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to convince people. That's just who I am. But Will Ferrell is in there, and he's doing fucking native face. He and a couple other people are playing natives, and I'm like, oh, good gracious, shocking. Cancel Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's just a joke there. Pardon me. Don't mind that noise, please. Who else would we like to talk to you about? Who would you... Let me see. Here's a question I'd like to ask you as a guest on the guest show.
I'd like to talk to Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders.
You would talk to Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders?
Yeah.
Alright, someone get on the fucking Twitter and ask them to call in.
I think they'd have some great views on the meritocracy.
On the meritocracy?
Yeah.
Well, before we get to the... Well, I would like to talk about those... I would like to get off the subject of meritocracy and see who you'd like to talk about. Like, if that's sort of dominating your thought process, I understand that. But, like, if you could have anyone here to have a conversation, who would it be? Would it be I Less Than 3 Trolling? Because he's here. Welcome to the show, I Less Than 3 Trolling. I'm only here to take a break from my Overwatch drinking game. Oh, good luck with that. And I still haven't finished the arcade or even played my placement matches yet.
You sound very busy.
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. It sounds like you've got daily quests to attend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that does sound fun. Thank you for dropping in the show here. We're doing a lot of definitions here. We're defining terms. First terms that we're defining are terms and define. So this is another very referential, self-referential, self-similar sort of fractal that we'll be exploring
you gotta do
today.
the homework, so...
This is the place to do the homework. We're doing it brand new. Brand new babies. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to have conversations. Let's figure it out. So the first question is, who would you talk to, eh? Speaking of burning, a bowl does sound nice. Yeah, you know what? We could fucking take a music break here and listen to some Burn One Down by what's his name. It feels very much like a radio show. But it's not radio show. This is not radio show. I know Joe's here, and it seems like radio. But this is a very, very different Joe. She wants to talk about bottom lines and logistic problems and who's driving where and when.
Getting your portfolio together.
Yeah, she's not at all talking about, like, pornography or prostitution or anything.
Yeah.
Dude, someone else came out and talked some shit about pornography. Oh, yeah, it was Russell Brand. I really like Russell Brand, and I'd very much like to invite him to the conversation.
Yeah.
So someone get on the Twitter and hit him up and have him call into the conversation here.
Get time off at work so I can join that conversation.
That's right, I'll tell you when it's coming up, when Russell Brand gets in touch with my people.
Yeah.
Right here on Twitter, in my DMs. Because we will talk about pornography and prostitution.
Yep.
And we're going to have a conversation about that.
Fuck yeah, it's about time.
It's about time. And it's about place. Isn't it about place? Because this here's the place. Those are 2 Mormon jokes for you.
Oh.
You like those? No.
I don't recognize it.
You don't recognize those? During the somethings, the Mormons had an ad campaign that was like,
oh, well, you forget.
Isn't it about time?
Really?
Yeah, it's really bad. And then another one, what was the other joke I did? I don't
About
remember.
place.
Yeah, this is the place, said fucking Brigham Young. So it is a double post-Mormon joke.
Oof. I'm winded from them.
Dude, me too.
Pam.
Yeah, I gotta fucking stretch up to that one. Woof! You can pull shit doing that shit early in the morning. Here at 12:49 in the morning. Woof! Woof! Because although it's technically afternoon, I don't think you can really get into the afternoon sort of things until about 3 o'clock. You know, I think we should consider before 3 o'clock as morning. Everybody knows that. Late morning, eh? 3 o'clock in the late morning. So, I think I've been worrying about this idea of like defining terms and how would we help people to come to conversation. I think a very useful tool that I would propose at the beginning is like a thing where we just write some values on cards and we put them face up on the table, right? And we call it cards on the table, eh? So I think a very first part of define your terms is like you just define a term and you slap it down on the table. I think that's a really good fucking way to have a conversation. I Lesson 3 Trolling continues. So are we finally giving proper definitions to terms like religion and cult? Well,
it's individual basis. Every conversation's going to have to redefine that.
Yeah, I think that that's what we're going
religion.
to find, is that nobody's going to own those terms at all.
Yeah.
Right? Except for people like me who are stupid and crazy, and I'm going to be contested on those terms quite often, right? When I say, yeah, I'm a leader of a cult, they're like, wait. Not really, though. And it's like, oh, fuck you, dude. Like, holy shit, right? So I think we'll get to the point pretty quickly that, like, terms like religion and cult are very, very subjective, and they can't be used to get to the end of the conversation. I think that is the point, is look at how many people haven't learned that lesson, or have learned that lesson and use those terms to obfuscate, right? That is the only usefulness of those terms, those tools, and see who uses it a lot to derail the conversation. Because I don't think we'll agree. Like, if you think of all those people that we would invite here, even just the people that we've mentioned today, I don't think they could agree on the definition of those words. I think they would disagree severely.
All of them with each other's opinions.
Yeah, I think the spectrum of understanding would be quite broad with those people. And I think that's fine. I think it's normal for a lot of words, and I think a person just chooses not to use that word if they're trying to communicate. And, you know, maybe nobody knows that, right? Maybe we've all grown up in this passive-aggressive, backward doing things, and no one's ever fucking learned how to communicate to each other.
Must be polite, not be truthful.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. That would be really, really nice.
Kindness first before anything. It's just backward.
Backwards. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Our Lesson 3 Trolling says a religion is just a cult with a large enough following. Yeah, or as, what was it, Bill Burr? I don't know who said it first. Religion is a cult whose leader's dead, right? Like, cult, someone at the top knows it's a sham, selling shit to people, and a religion's forgotten that, so somehow or other.
Yeah, I'm seeing Twitter trying to define cult over and over again with the politics right now, and they keep saying it's obeying even when you see facts. You can discredit the facts.
There's a guy, Hassan, who just published a book about the cult of Trump, and like it's called like the cult of Trump. And so he's going around talking a little bit about it.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, and like, you know, he, as far as like, if it's an authoritarian word, like, I mean, the person who deals with the cults the most gets to tell you what a cult is, then I think he gets to. But I don't really think that is that. I think the point is he's got all these models to fucking explain what he's talking about, and he's talking about destructive cults, right? And because he's saying there's a lot of cults that we don't consider cults, and they're fine. I only have a problem with a destructive cult, and they have these things in common. I think he's the dude that came up with the bite model that a lot of people are using right now to sort of communicate it. And so that's the point, is I fully expect this endeavor here to have conversations to illuminate what we already know, which is we write essays, you know, and we make words very specific. 9 words, right? I think it's a very I think defining terms is strong in 2 ways. 1, it helps us clarify, and 2, it identifies bad faith actors, right? Because they don't do it. They don't like the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where logic goes.
Right, they're fucked in that game.
Yeah.
They play the game of double meanings, obfuscation. They say fear God, and I say, well, people who fear are cowards, and they're like, no, not fear. And it's like, well, then why is that word right there? Yeah. So, you know, that's their game. Anyway, I'd like to talk a little bit about the business side of this part right here. We're at 850 subs, and because of this frenzy of shares that we had.
Yeah, one of your videos where you stand up on a stone.
Yeah, one of my very, very early videos. It might have been my first attempt of counter-preaching. The very first person I found who was preaching out loud. And I think from his I think it was his first time. He didn't seem very practiced. So, that was, yeah. It's interesting because it's 1,000 days ago. You know, it's like, it's like a very early version of this. So I wonder, I can't do that again, right? I can't act like I did 1,000 days ago. If that's what you guys like, I'm fucked. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We talk about that on the Friday show, which is the Pastafarian show. Because I'm not really Pastafarian here, even though this feels very much like radio show, because Josephine LaRoe is right there. Although very, very pissed. I don't know if you've had enough caffeine. Would you like some caffeine, Joe? So, if you were to define a term, if you were to have a conversation, who would you have it with? The Pope? Would you like to talk to the Pope?
No.
You wouldn't want to talk to him?
I don't know who. I don't know what kind of conversation I'd want to have. I think that would choose who I'd want to talk with.
Anyone who's alive, because we can just tweet them and then they'll show up. Because
people that are in the government.
So
to affect change, I'd be like, look, dude.
Someone who would show up today. Someone you would talk to today. If someone in the audience there tweeted at them, and they were like, dude, they're talking about you on Define Your Terms, and they're like, oh shit, I'm a huge fan of Define Your Terms. I'm definitely calling in to talk to Joe. Who would you want that to be? Russell Brand? To be like, and you'd be like, explain yourself about what? What would you ask him?
Sex work. His opinions on sex work. Or his opinions on porn.
Yeah, we're going to have to define our terms in sort of sex work and porn industry. So, I think you're going to have to define what you mean by sex work. I think that would be the problem.
Any sexuality of, like, stripping, making videos, selling actual sex, or hugging, or going on dates with people. Any of this time where it is a sensual thing that gets you aroused is paid for.
So,
sex work.
Sex work. Sounds like capitalization of arousal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that, like... So, let's say that there's a movie, a rated R movie, right? And it's about... Let's say it's this new Adam Driver movie, okay? I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
But it's Adam Driver and I believe Scarlett Johansson. And they are married and they are divorcing, right? And so I assume this is a two-actor intimate portrayal of a relationship and a lot of the beats and the moments of that, right? You know, like, you can think of that movie, that kind of movie, right? And so if in that movie there's a sex scene and sort of they're pointing out how sort of sexually compatible these characters still are, right? They're talking about sort of arousing things and they're arousing each other and being flirty with each other and, in surrogate the audience, right? Would you consider that sex work?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
So you'd call Adam Driver a sex worker?
Yes.
So under your definition of sex work...
Yeah, I don't know why movies that have a rating are excluded from being called sex work, but they should.
Because they're art, and sex work is dirty, not art.
No, everything is art.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're gonna have to define art, I think. Hold on.
Okay, so
Before
let's
we
define
can't.
art.
No, because you're not allowed to. You're only allowed to define one term in a show. Like, this is a long, slow conversation.
This? I got kind of. Oh, that's talking for others.
You're breaking all the rules here. You're trying to define so many terms. You're trying to talk for the Pope and everybody. Good gracious.
Talk for the internet.
So, ILS3 trolling continues. Legit, this Pope is pretty decent. Yeah, pretty decent. I would agree with you, but I would also point out that we're talking about a relative spectrum here. And as good as I would be, oh fucking no, right? As good as you would be as Pope,
yeah.
absolutely no.
Yeah, and in comparison to Christopher Hitchens, fuck no. Like, in comparison to other popes, fuck yes.
Right. As from a group of really terrible people, he's not that terrible. Right. I believe the same thing about Queen of England.
And still hiding
she's
abuse
still awful, right.
this month. Paying off people so it doesn't go public.
Right. And so that's the problem with these relative problems is, how do you tell the Pope, yes, thank you, now 5 times more, please, right?
Yes.
On this show, I think I could.
What if you can only define one term a show with him?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a while until he hears about us, so we're going to have like 50 terms already defined, like, and we'll write them up on the wall. With
I think what you're going to find out is every term is subjective.
Oh yeah, because language
every
is subjective.
Definition.
That's right, because we are using subjective
so this
fucking
is an
garbage.
Impossible show. You got to shut it down.
Oh well.
Throws my hands in the air.
Impossible, like all the problems that we're attempting here as humans.
Yeah.
Quite impossible. Oh well. Oh well. It's all meaningless and we can't win, so let's just fucking give up.
Yeah.
And smoke the ganja, eh? Through the snow that Flying Spaghetti Monster shits down on us to keep us away from work.
Another thing about the Pope is, I had a memory when I was leaving Mormonism. I was like, the Pope is better than our prophet.
Sometimes.
Like the things I was reading on Reddit about him at the time.
He did a couple cool things, yeah.
What the fuck?
He does cool things and lame things, yes. Yeah, I like this Pope more than the last one.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think than all other popes.
I'd like to talk to him about what he needs to do with Notre Dame, though.
Yes.
I'd like to talk to him about his behavior with the assets of that church.
Yes, I'd like to talk to him about their sexuality repression problem they have going on.
I'd like to talk to him about his interpretation of mythology.
Not ever get married or have sex is gross, same as masturbation.
Yeah, it's very culty.
The abuse around the world.
And it's disempowering and, yeah, no, I think he has a lot of apologies he could give. I think that I could do a better job of being Pope then. And I think that I could advise him. And I think he's just not humble enough to talk to people that don't wear stupid hats like him. Isn't that right? So, come on by, the so-called Pope of a bullshit religion.
So, question back at you. Who would you talk to? Who would you invite today?
You, dude, I was fucking losing my mind yesterday. Jesus. Bones is the worst co-host that I've ever fucking hung out with, and I don't mind if you can hear me right now. But now that I've got you here already, I think I'd ask ILS3 trolling. I think I'd say, let's define trolling. What is the, what counts, and what are the positive sort of uses of trolling? I think that's what I'd ask.
Yeah.
Define the term trolling. It's a new sort of idea. But not new, right? Like the idea of like spam. It's like, it feels new and it's like, yeah, we started saying it in the 90s and like, oh shit.
Yeah, trolling's been around 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people around the neighborhood that really, really value trolling. That just proudly state, yeah, fuck you, I'm a troll. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh okay. I do that very important business, the business of trolling.
Well, the further I get away from religion, it seems like trolling is more just a critic. They can blaspheme. And they don't believe in the rule of politeness. So.
You're saying in its broadest sense it means something very similar to blasphemer?
Yeah.
Something like a mocker? Mm-hmm. Jesus, that was fucking some coffee cats right there.
I just totally ignored it. In my thoughts, my good thoughts.
You're just too busy having a conversation, hey? Is that right?
Yep.
Holy shit, it worked, ladies and gentlemen! Boom! Finally! A place to have the conversation. Welcome to the conversation. Episode 2, welcome to the conversation. Pardon me. What if I were, wonders ILS3 trolling, pardon me, Would you, do you know where I've got my... Here it is. My cherry cola. My very cherry. Cherry cola. Thank you, Big K. What if we were to crown, or I guess colander, you as the Pope of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
So what do you mean by wonder? Like, are you picturing what would happen? Or are you picturing... See, we gotta define his...
Where's
question.
wonder? There's no wonder. What if we were to?
Oh, I thought you just said that.
I wonder. No, I said he wonders.
Oh.
Yeah, no. I interpreted it for him. I guess I fucking broke rule number 1.
Oh.
Holy Christ. Well, sorry guys. It's broken. Thought we'd go way longer than this.
No, it's just your first or second draft.
Alright, guys. And...
Fulfilling story,
yeah.
plot, characters,
It's not.
script.
Yeah, of course Adam Driver is one of the greatest things going on in Hollywood right now, right? And Kylo Ren could be the greatest character in Star Wars. I'm totally fine with that. People coming and be like, Kylo Ren's the best character ever coming into the series. Like, maybe. That really might be. I'm not saying that argument, because I'd have to like go into that voice, and I can't do a whole fucking video for that voice. Although, if you do want to donate to that project, go check out our Patreon, where you can put in what project you're donating to. So we could do like the Mr. Plinkett reviews episode 8, but like it's like double satirical. It's like
Ooh.
Mr. Plinkett's imagination of the fanboys do the actual thing.
Oh, right.
Right.
How they feel about it.
Because now that the world is entirely satire, right?
Yeah.
Now that we have a satirical president and fucking satirical government and all of this shit, satire has to be double satire. Like, we have to double it up. This is fucking crazy. All of my satire...
I mean, if you can watch videos on double speed, it would make sense you gotta double satire it up.
I know, right? This is the fucking future. I feel like fucking Data sitting with his cat in his quarters listening to 9 pieces of music, being like, I like this, I don't like that. So, speaking of music, I have to talk about King Princess. So I think it worked, right? Because Lorne Michaels is a great, great person. A very, very genius human being. In that he keeps his systems effective at what they do. Pretty good effective. And he still has some interesting music. Lorne Michaels is the guy who's introduced me to a lot of interesting music. Like, in my life. It's been Lorne. Always there for me. Musically. Very interesting dude. And then last week he's like, hey, have you heard of King Princess? I'm like, no, tell me about her. And it was very, very strange what I heard. But there's one hook in one of his songs that I just cannot get out of my mind. I don't know what to do about it, because I don't have anything to do with her, and it seems like she doesn't want anything to do with me. You know, like, seems like she's over there and I'm over here, and that's the way we both like it. And then she fucking puts out this one fucking, like, stanky, like, hook in her chorus, and she does it 3 times. But I don't think that she knew she did it. So, I think I'm going to sample it and fucking, you know, make some fresh beats out of it, and then flush it out of my system that way. Darren Casey is here. True, haha! Yeah, I think that was about
10 minutes ago.
how funny, how racist it was that Will Ferrell was playing a Native American. Yeah, that's what it was about. Iron 3 Trolling says, Ben Swolo, but yeah, I'm liking Kylo. Genuine struggles between the light and the dark, debatably more so than Granddaddy Vader. Yeah, when he gave me the prequels, I was like, oh, I thought I'd understand the Fall better, kind of like I did with Feanor from the Silmarillion. Like, I feel like I would make different decisions, but I can see why he did all this stuff, right? Whereas fucking Anakin was just like, oh, I guess I'm a bad guy now. Like, well, I don't think that's how it works. And I understand Kylo's argument a lot better than everybody else's, but then at the end of episode 8, he's just like, and now that I'm free and I can do whatever I want, I'm just going to keep doing what's been happening. And so I found that to be very, very strange of yeah, I think they're just gonna change his character to be what they
Yeah.
need him to be, and just ignore all the shit that he said in the beginning.
Not true to the personality we were first shown.
Yeah, I think from what I've been told, the people who really pulled that off, like the sort of struggle of the bad guy, and like sympathetic bad guy. The last time it's been pulled off really well is Avatar. Is that right? The fucking last Airbender, the cartoon, the fucking fire guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Really fucking pulled it off.
Yeah.
Like, because I think that
Avatar. I was like, what? I'm picturing blue people.
yeah.
But yeah, Airbender.
Yeah, I hear that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the I haven't seen all of it, so I don't know like the subtle shit. But like apparently that fire guy was like, no, he was cool. So
Yeah, he was conflicted.
yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I hear really good things about that
Yeah.
guy. And I think maybe first or second season, Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's just a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
He's just a secret bad guy trying to stay out of jail or whatever.
Lessons for Trolling defines his trolling. Right here.
Oh, look. As for trolling, good one.
Yeah, he answered your
I
question.
personally... Oh, good. That's what I wished. That my dream has come true. Hold on. Before I do this, let me get in the right headspace. As for trolling, I personally identify my trolling as pretty mild compared to the toxic trolling we usually imagine. Right. There's a lot of different sort of things that can be considered trolling. Blasphemy might be a very identical circle to the idea. Maybe just sarcasm in general is just trolling. Mocking, right? I'm often accused of mocking on the internet, and I fucking deny it every time. I love denying that I'm a mocker because no, I don't. I picture mock as being something totally different. I'm a satirist. Good gracious, fucking learn your terms.
Well, also people see any criticism as mocking
Yeah.
instead of
Right.
instead of me calling you names. If I just say what you're doing is harming yourself,
Yeah.
they say I am mocking them. And it's like, no, I've not called you names.
That's
I've
right.
pointed out truths
I'm calling you a false prophet,
you
and
don't
you're
want to see.
right. You're totally misrepresenting what I'm doing here. Yeah, I never confess to mocking. Choke me harder, Vader. Oh, that's gross. That's very kinky.
It's not gross.
But I mean, it is part of it. You know, like it's part of the whole genre, or not the genre, the whole universe, right? There's tentacles drowning people in the beginning, and you know, it's a really, really kinky universe. You get to like whatever part of it you like, and if you were like, no, Vader fucking choked people, it's like, okay, if that's what you're into. He did choke a lot of people. He could choke you from another spaceship. Yeah. So all you gotta do is like Venmo him and be like, I'm 2 spaceships over, Vader.
I sent the money already.
Yeah.
And our safe word is pineapple.
I don't think they have pineapples in space. You're gonna have to come up with it. You gotta say like a Star Wars reference for it. You gotta say
Right.
Nerf herder. That's what you gotta
Yeah, I was
say.
trying to think of the animal they run.
Who
They
run?
ride.
Tauntaun?
Tauntaun.
The snow
yeah.
guys? My safe
Tauntaun.
word is Tauntaun. Yeah, I think that's a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
We should hold on. Let me write that one down. We'll put it in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah. Space choke me, Vader. I don't see anything in my Venmo. Sorry. That's not part of the conversation. The flying spaghetti monster is a mockery of true religion. I mean, that's kind of the point.
I mean, right. Isn't there good things, mockery?
It's not a mockery, it's a reflection. Yeah. It's true reflection. Like, their God is a mockery of
now
our
we're
God.
defining the term mockery. Does mockery only mean, or only
I-
negative?
I'm a mocker as much as they're a mocker. Like, I accept it as much as they do. Because I worship the true God and they worship a mockery of that God. And so it's as true for them as it is for me.
Yes.
Right. So I'll own it as much as they do. Which is 0. They're not mocking. They're not mocking me. They'll never own that shit. And I think we're playing the same game back at each other.
So reflection.
Because they're saying, my God is a mockery of theirs. And no, their God is a mockery of themselves. It's a reflection of themselves. They're saying God created us in our own image. Well, what happened is they created their God in their own image. Their God is a mockery of themselves. We worship the real creator of this reality, who created this reality in his own image. And his image is not a three-dimensional image. It goes through time, it flows through time in tentacles and noodles. That is the flying spaghetti monster. We see him, we understand him. We didn't create him in our image. We used our understanding to understand his image. And their process of that thing that I just did is a mockery of that process. They got nowhere closer to the truth. They got further from it. So they're mocking as much as I am, and that's not at all the way they see it. But they can come down here and have a conversation, and we can define the term mocking. They can come on down. I don't want to speak for them, because I have to fucking shut the show down when I do that.
But I don't know if there's anything wrong with mockery.
That also true. They've got a,
Like,
yeah.
I should, like, words are not violence, as I thought we were saying. So anything I can say, any mockery is still part of the conversation.
Mockery is allowed and useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Our connection is going insies outsies, and you know, I think. Oh well, let me check my Twitter here, because I did Twitter to see if anybody wanted to talk to me. I said the conversation has begun. Hashtag join us. Hashtag live now. Hashtag define your terms. Oh shit, Twitter just updated. Hold on, let me find what I said. One moment, please. It vanished as I was reading it. Define your terms. Episode 2. Welcome to the conversation with a very special guest. That's you, Josephine. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Being a very, very special guest. Sorry we made you nervous at the beginning, but one of the terms that we're going to have to define is, you know, I wonder what we mean when we say nervous. It's going to be very difficult to have this conversation because of how many terms there are. We use quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
Hashtag Pastafarian, hashtag FSM, hashtag real religion. Those are my fucking classics right there. You know, got to hit the brand. And so let's see how many people have responded to it. Let me check its responses to see how many people have wanted to have a conversation. Let's see how many people, now that there is a place to have conversations, are rushing here to be like, finally, a place to have the conversation. I've been waiting my fucking whole life for this. I can't get to the end of the conversation, and now that there's a place to have it, and it's free, all I got to do is get there. Fucking the time has come. Yeah, I don't hear any walrus said. So I hear that there's nothing, no responses. Hold on. Wait a minute. I've got to be reading this wrong. Let me check again. Let me check here to see who else. No one. Again. Goodness gracious. You know, this is what we found with the fucking radio show. And I thought that when we started, like, stopped mocking people, right, and started taking shit seriously, that it would fucking work out. I guess not, eh? I guess it's not a meritocracy. I guess it's not work hard and, you know, have the best intentions and you'll totally be rewarded. I guess we've got to, like, you know, grease the right palms, eh?
Yeah,
so,
connections, you gotta know how to sell yourself.
That's right, have the right lawyers.
You gotta figure out social media.
Yeah, so
you gotta be an artist.
Join us tomorrow for when we
Accountant.
figure out social media and artistry and accountancy in one episode. Is there anything that's truly considered holy in flying spaghetti monsterism other than sex workers, alcohol, and noodles? Well, I mean, life is holy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stand for all that is
Essential
good.
Actions
Yeah,
and collaboration.
I think goodness can be called holy. We stand for what's good. We oppose what's not good. You know,
Truth.
The dogma is pretty holy, right? The one and only dogma, or like, you know, our very golden dogma. The colander is holy. If someone were to be stomping it on the ground and spitting on it, I think I would take it personally. I think I could be like, cool, that might be a hate crime. You know, like, it seems very clear what you're saying about that. Yeah, we're gonna have to get to the show when we define holy, because I don't know the definition of any of these fucking terms, turns out. These things are the most nebulous fucking things in the world. You would think that we're trying to come to a clearer understanding and a better sort of agreement, and, hopefully the problem we're having is a catching up problem. You know, it's just like we're talking in different sort of generations, and we're moving forward instead of no, people are trying not to understand intentionally. That would be kind of unfortunate.
Bummer. And then that'll be the next season.
Oh man, snowbongs are the super best. Because I am smoking some fucking tons of weed right now. Like and it's, you know, I'm coughing a little bit, but I'm not coughing a lot. Oh, and truth, that's pretty good too, I guess. That might be. I haven't read a lot of the loose canon, but I don't know how revered the idea of truth is generally in Pastafarianism. Like that is sort of like a personal idea for me, and you can agree as much as you want to. But I would call it like the cult of the flying spaghetti monster, you know, and not Bobby Henderson. Bobby Henderson is still trying to keep it very, very general, and I'm very, you know, good. You know, do that. I don't want to do that. It's your thing, dude. Fucking you keep it all inclusive. I'll make it very, very personalized to how crazy I am. That's easier. So yeah, I've definitely revered truth. I think as far as like a tool that will help me recover from the damage done to me while I was inculcated, like the crutch, as it were, to lean on when I don't know what to do because I'm like deformed or whatever. I'll just lean on truth, like authenticity, sort of, right? I saw a guy like on a radio show talking to kids, and then I'll like, how do you talk to someone, right? How do you talk to a girl and like get her to like you? And the adult was like, oh shit, okay. And he was like a coolish celebrity, and he had no idea this was coming. I don't recall who it was though. And they were like, well, you just sort of say that, right? You say, I'm really nervous, right? And everyone was like, wow, amazing. And it's like, kind of no. There's no hope for you except for your authentic self, right? Like that's what that person is saying. Is like the coolest person is the person that just doesn't have any other option than be in the moment, right? Instead of a person trying to be cool, and there's a fake it till you make it sort of idea that gets in the way of like, you have no other option. Realizing it's just your only way is improvise as the wave is cresting through time, right? You're surfing down the wave, and it's like, what's going to come up? And like, no idea, right? We'll be in a place we've never been. The wave continues to move forward. Yeah, and you can yell at the river as much as you want and be like, you're not supposed to be shaped like this, but you're just supposed to fucking surf the wave up the river, right? Yeah, whatever. Inculted, I like that word. Yeah, right? Like, the correct fucking Americanization of that word is inculcated, correct? Is that right? But it doesn't hit the word cult hard enough, right? Like, I want to fucking punch it right in the cult.
Violence, man. I thought you were like, no violence.
Metaphorically punch it in the cult.
Well, we
Hold
got
on.
mad at Biden for metaphorically punching violence against women.
I mean, immediately after he was talking about it, like immediately after talking about, I really don't like dehumanizing people. The only people who do it are fucking
Sheep.
cockroaches. What? Okay. Hold on, I've got to write that down because I've trademarked that thing that I just said.
Inculted.
Yeah, punch them right in the cult.
Oh.
That's what. Hold on, I gotta put that. I'm gonna do that during my stand-up. So yeah, I think a tool that we could do is we can like have our own definitions for the show, right? And have that be an episode as we come in and we just talk about the definition of a word and sort of like what people use it to mean and sort of all the different things. I think that would work, right? That would be a fun series, a way to communicate to each other. Is like, this is what this word means now, and this is what these people mean with it, and you know, like, yeah. And so, as far as like who I would invite to the next show, if we could have an hour conversation with them, there's two people. I've got my writer, who we work with, is very, very good at communication. Like, I don't know anybody who's better at like moving the conversation forward.
Oh my goodness, that's a really good point.
Right. And secondly, Anthony Magdabosco, I'd very much like to talk to him about the idea of conversation. I'll tweet both of them and see if they want to Skype in and talk to me.
Or Discord.
Discord in, what is it, the day before Thanksgiving? I'm sure nobody will be driving around.
Sure, nobody's busy.
Yeah, anyway, it might just be me and Bones again tomorrow. But anyway, this is the end of the show. We've done it.
Yeah.
Another part of me, episode 2.
Told some great jokes.
Great jokes.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Fucking, I can sell these jokes for millions and millions of pounds.
You were like, let's put that in our movie.
I could have been being sarcastic. It could have been like a wink at how bad our movie is going to be. But here's the movie. So I think I can get it done for under $50,000. Okay, and that's pretty cheap for this movie. And here's what it is. All right, it's a porn movie. The thing that you're watching in the theater was a porn, but all the porn had to be edited out because it was purchased and turned into a PG-13 movie. So the movie that you're watching is a PG-13 version of the porn, and you're watching right up until they had to cut it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a porn. And also, it's the movie. It's the story of the making of the movie you're watching, like the Muppet Show is. It's that, right? Nice. Yeah. So if you want to fund that, if the I've got a treaty on it. What is it called?
Copyright?
Write up the write up the treatment treaty. A treatment on it. I got a 5-page treatment on this. If you want me to send it to your producers or whatever, if you've got like contacts to get them the fundage for this. But if those two ideas are like, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Yeah, there's something going on here. And right in the middle of it, right at the break, second act to third act break, I'll make you cry. Yeah, you'll feel it. The noodly appendages of Flying Spaghetti Monster. Touching in your heart, reminding you that all we can truly make are connections. So, $50,000. I think I can get it made. I can get it made this spring, I think. We can release it this summer. Be ready for the fall, or the summer, what's it called? What are those called?
Blockbusters?
Festivals.
Releases? Oh yeah, the independent Sundance and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's take it to Sundance. I'm sure that's during skiing season, right? It's gotta be. English and language in general, especially English, is a really weird thing. Right. We need to, as practitioners of it, stop thinking of it as sort of like a typeface, right? And think of it as more as a clay, right?
Beautiful.
I think the Babylonians were very sort of understanding of that because they literally just fucking smashed it into clay, right? Like we do it fucking chalk on chalkboards. It is very fucking early for us, and then we grow up and be like, no, now I'm doing it in pen. I'm using the language in the way it was meant to be used. Like, meant to be used? Fuck you. It's meant to be used to communicate, you bitch. It's not meant to be used to shame people, right?
Yeah.
I very much like the sort of, just as an aside, I'll ask aside before we go, I very much like those artists, those writers, like E.E. Cummings and, who did The Road? Cormac McCarthy? Because he doesn't use punctuation, Cormac McCarthy. E.E. Cummings didn't use capitalization or some other things like that. And, you ask Cormac McCarthy why, and it's like, the answer is because you're talking about it, right? Like, it's because I've found it to be very avant-garde, and this will make people fucking notice me. But, the explanation is...
no, I find it annoying.
Yeah. Right. But his explanation is, I think if it's not if you're not reading it without the punctuation, if you're not understanding what's going on, I'm not writing it well, right? Like, that's his sort of thing of, like, I just don't. That's what he says sometimes, right?
Okay.
But, you know, it's all of those things at once, right? The ways we do decisions. So, but I really do like that. The people who are like, you know what, I'm going to see how long I can go without doing punctuation. And it's like, oh, it turned out my whole career. That's weird. Because those are fun things to explore, right? Those are the people who are like, let's see what we can do with this shit. Anyway, I can't do anything with this shit. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. Thanks again, Josephine, for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry that you didn't get to go to your real world job today and earn your, you know, whatever dollar bills.
Yeah,
and
well, tell FSM I do not like snow.
yeah, right? Like, that's the problem with having such a bastard around. He's like, oh, you missed it? Well, I'll just snow everywhere so no one can do anything. It's like, dude, no, that's not the solution. He comes up with really extreme and bad solutions.
Yep.
Not as bad as the fucking God of the Old Testament, who was like, you know what, I don't like some people, I'm just going to flood everybody. That's an extreme thinking. Anyway, enough digressions. The show's over. I've got to get the fuck out of here, because the real world continues. I'll see you tomorrow, friends and Postafarians, as the conversation continues.